So welcome to episode 2 of our educational series. This is the Woman's Villa channel, and today we are going to get in some things about infertility and just reproductive disorders as a whole. The Woman's Villa is a company that I started a few years ago. So I help women birth their babies from the comfort of their own homes holistically. I also help women overcome reproductive disorders through nutrition and herbal teas, as well as sell products for skin health and womb health. So now that we got that out the way, let's get into the episode. So my name is Deja Spence, and I just want to put a disclaimer out there that I am not a medical doctor, right? And this is just for entertainment purposes only. We do not want our videos to be taken down off of YouTube, but these videos are very, very informative. So the tea that we are drinking for today is our Soft Life Daily Wellness Tea. And this tea is one of the first teas that I've ever come out with. It is a prenatal tea. It is a tea that you can use for afterbirth, but not only that, but it is a everyday women's health wellness tea, right? So you don't have to just use it for pregnancy or after birth, but you can use it as an everyday wellness tea for improving your health and wellness, right? So let's get right into the video. So I kind of want to start off by explaining how I got into this work and why I am qualified to help women overcome their reproductive disorders. I first started off with my other company. I know I am no longer operating that company, but so I started off with a company called Life of Cosmetics. And with Life of Cosmetics, we were selling skincare products. We were helping a lot of women overcome their skin issues, right? And but we weren't getting enough customer testimonials. A lot of women were healing their skin, but not enough video testimonials, not enough written, just women, and then not enough women showing me their before and afters. Now I don't know if was it because of a self-conscious thing, but I started this thing where I really, really wanted women to start, sharing their progress. And so I was like, okay, I'm gonna do this thing where I choose 15 women who wants to get rid of their acne, right? So I was going to do it for free if they documented their journey. That was a part of the deal. And so we got on Zoom and I asked them a series of questions. And one of the things that really, really stood out was that there was a common denominator, that every woman that I interviewed or asked a series of questions on Zoom, they all had one thing in common. They were all, or mostly all of them, were suffering with some type of reproductive disorder. And that's when I realized that I can't heal their symptoms, right? Because acne is a symptom of something that is going on in the body. I can't just heal their symptoms. I'm going to have to heal the root cause of what is causing their acne. And a lot of times it's because of the reproductive disorder. It's because the womb is out of balance. And so that's when I started transitioning from just being a person who heals symptoms to being a person who heals the root cause of the problems, right? Because products alone is not going to get rid of the problems. And if products does get rid of the problems, most time it's a reoccurring thing, so it will come back in the future. And so we want this to be gone for good. And so I already had these different natural remedies in order to get rid of these reproductive disorders that I had stored in my notes a long time ago. I stopped just focusing on skin health and I decided to focus on internal wellness, right? And one thing that whenever we go to the hospital, no matter what we go for, they're always going to ask about our last cycle or our womb health. So I knew that was very, very important, and I felt like I was being called to do those type of things. So Yeah, so we help with infertility issues, PCOS, endometriosis, ovarian cysts, uterine fibroids, all the things. We started selling these herbal products, right? Because I'm really, really, really into the herbs. And once we started selling the herbal products and we started getting customer testimonials about naturally getting rid of the reproductive disorders, I was like, okay, we have something. And so I've been doing that for a few years. I've been helping women to heal themselves from within, and not just only on a physical level, but also on a metaphysical level, because everything starts as a spiritual problem before it manifests into the physical. So let's start from the beginning of where reproductive disorders typically manifest, right? So a lot of the times it runs in the family. Now, just because it runs in the family doesn't mean that it have to run into you. A lot of times it runs into the it's running in the family because we're living similar lifestyles as the generation before, like eating certain things that our family is eating that experience these reproductive disorders, or going into the same type of field, right? When it comes to working and doing things that we don't want to do, or being in relationships, right? Because a lot of these things are generational curses. So it can come from things like that. Like I said, it can come from being a spiritual problem in the first place, right? It always starts up there. So that's why when a lot of women, they go and they get surgery on removing their fibroids, and then you hear a couple years later that the fibroids is back or the ovarian cyst is back. It's because you went and got it cut out, right? But you maintain the same lifestyle, you maintain the same mindset, you maintain the same diet, which doesn't have any nutrition at all. And those fibroids or those ovarian cysts, they came back, right? So it's all about, see, there was a study done, and in the study that was done, they were saying that most women who think alike, you'll realize that they have a common denominator, that they have a certain reproductive disorder. Like most women who have fibroids, they have the same type of mindset. One of the main things that reproductive disorders also stem from is birth control. So I know the generation before, they didn't know the knowledge that we know now. So a lot of us, especially me, I wasn't even having sex at the time, and I was put on birth control around the age of 15 or 16, right? So imagine being on birth control for that long, for that many years, and it's actually going against what your body is naturally made to do. The earlier that women are starting their cycles, that they are more prone to getting reproductive disorders in the future. Because I didn't start my cycle until I was around 14 or 15 years old. That's when I first started my cycle. But nowadays, little girls are 8 years old and they're already having a cycle, right? That is actually common, but it is not normal. There is a difference between things being common and things being normal, and that is absolutely not normal. And so we're starting to see more and more little girls starting their cycles earlier and earlier. And that's because it's the parents that's doing most of the things, like feeding them fast foods, not really giving them the nutrition that they really need. Trauma that's going on in the house because those parents didn't heal their childhood trauma, so they are projecting onto their children, right? And so all of those things play a role in why a little girl would start her cycle as early as 8 years old, right? And not only is that dangerous for a little girl starting her cycle early at 8 years old, but pregnancy, they can become pregnant earlier. And also, when we start our cycles, we are losing iron out of our bodies, right? But most time, we are not replenishing the iron that we're losing due to bleeding. And a lot of the times, we're bleeding heavy, right? And so it is important for us to start doing preventative care to really take this serious. So let's jump into infertility issues really quickly. So a lot of the infertility issues is caused by one of these reproductive disorders. It don't even have to be caused by a reproductive disorder, but it can be caused by being on birth control for so long that your body is used to not releasing the eggs, right? And so your body just don't do it anymore. Some ways that you can have infertility issues is that every time that you have a cycle, your uterine lining is supposed to shed. And that's one of the things that we were dealing with when I had the Yoni Steam shop, is that a lot of the women, they were having their cycles, but the uterine lining wasn't shedding. Cycle after cycle after cycle, it's like old blood, old menses, it's just stacking up on top of each other, and it's not really being cleansed. It's preventing you from getting pregnant, and it's also making the pelvic region very stagnant, right? And so in order for us to become pregnant, we have to have an adequate amount of iron in our body, because the baby won't even implant if we don't have enough iron in our bodies. Also, our pelvic region needs to be flowing instead of stagnant, right? Everything in this universe is flowing. Nothing is stagnant and nothing is staying the same, right? So that goes for inside of our body. We have a universe inside of our body. Our womb is so important. It is a multi-dimensional portal. When women are experiencing prolonged periods for 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 days, that's miserable, and that is not normal, right? That is not a normal cycle. You are actually hemorrhaging. You are bleeding out every single month. And then you're not doing the things to replenish you, to put the trace minerals back into your body, because not only are you losing iron, but you're losing a lot of the trace minerals that you need for the womb to be functioning correctly and for your body to function correctly. If your womb is out of balance, your whole body is out of balance, and that reflects on your life as well. It manifests into your life being chaotic. But when the womb is in balance, you'll start to see that you're more happier, you're not depressed, right? And that's all because you have the adequate amount of minerals in your body, that you're eating right, that you're thinking right, that you're living a more holistic and healthy lifestyle. And so let's speak about some of the spiritual ways that these reproductive disorders will manifest in the physical. Toxic relationships, right? That's inducing stress, that is making you feel less than yourself. It's making you feel unworthy, unprocessed emotions, right? These things dealing from childhood trauma, not knowing who you are, not walking in your purpose. On a spiritual level is your mindset, right? Not liking yourself. Thinking negative all the time, because when you think negative about stuff, it literally releases a chemical inside of your body. So your mind can literally heal you or it can kill you. That is a real thing. So it is important for us to be thinking positive, especially when it comes to ourselves, because the most important relationship is with ourselves. And it's so crazy because we tend to have better relationships with people outside of us than the relationship that we have with ourselves. We tend to show up for other people more than we show up for ourselves. We tend to hold promises, hold other people accountable, but we're not keeping those promises to ourselves, and we're not holding ourselves accountable. Sometimes we believe in other people more than we believe in ourselves, and that's going against universal flow. We have to have a great relationship with ourselves in order for things to manifest that the way that we want them to. And so we are the ones that's in our own way. And until you sit down and you be alone with yourself and you think about and you start to unpack why you are the way that you are, then that is the beginning of the healing journey, right? On a mental level, we're not even talking about the things that you can do physically. We're just talking about the mind. The mind is super, super powerful. And whatever you believe is the truth. it don't even matter if it's not the truth. But if you believe it, your mind is so powerful, then that is true to you. Some of the things that other things that will have these things manifesting on a physical level, say that you are working a job that you hate. Every time you go into that job, it just brings down your energy. It makes you depressed. It makes you feel sad. Those are some of the things that can have PCOS, ovarian cysts, fibroids, and things like that manifesting on a physical level, because you are literally doing something for money and not doing something because that's what you really want to do, right? And a lot of times it's a lack of faith, right? You're saying that you're just paying the bills, but there are other things that you can do that makes you happy, that will also help you pay the bills. But you are choosing to do this because you feel like it's no way out. So just working a job that's going against your spirit will have these things manifested in your life. So yeah, these things start on a spiritual level first, and then they trickle down onto the physical plane, right? And so now let's go into or dive deeper on why we deal with these things on a physical level. First, we talked about the mindset already, but let's dive deeper. The food that we are eating. A lot of the food that you are eating is not complementary to who you really are. Like, for example, if you're eating processed food every day, but you are a human being, you are real, but you're eating fake food, then you're filled up with fake food and not real food, not holistic food. So it's going to have you doing things that you wouldn't normally be doing. It's going to have you thinking certain thoughts, right? Because when you have these parasites in your body that start to develop, because parasites develop inside of the body from the foods that you are eating. To me, parasites are demons. Parasites are so strong that they can have you going against your own will. They can have you eating foods that you want to stay away from, because once you start staying away from certain foods, you start to kill off these toxins, you start to kill off these parasites, and etc. And I'm going to have another video where I dive deeper into parasites. But you're going to start killing them off. You're going to start starving them off. And they're going to do anything that they need to do in order to stay alive. So then you thinking that you're craving certain foods, but it's really not you. It's the parasites in your body. And so you stay inside of this cycle over and over again. Another thing is emotional eating, right? Due to your emotions, your emotions drive your thought process. So your emotions are very powerful. Your emotions are the reason why things manifest in your life. Because it's one thing to have a thought about it, but what drives the manifestation process is the feeling and the emotions that you have behind the thought. So when you are emotionally eating these foods, you're essentially in bondage, really. And so instead of just eating them because it's healthy for you, you're eating bad foods that you know is bad for you because of the way you feel, right? So then your logic is out the mind now, and you're just eating to feel better, right? And so your emotions have their own body. Just as we have a physical body, you have an emotional body. Your emotions have their own body. And so when your emotional body is not in balance, it starts to affect everything else. Just like when you have a bag of fruit, right? Let's say we have a bag of cherries, and some of the cherries is molded and some of the cherries is healthy. But when some of the cherries are next to molded cherries, then what tends to happen? Those healthy cherries cannot turn that mold back into health again. What's going to happen is the mold is going to start making the other cherries have mold as well, right? So we have to be careful on what we are entertaining. We have to be careful of emotional eating, because that is leading to the reproductive disorders as well. We already spoke about being on birth control, and there are natural and holistic ways in order to, prevent yourself from having birth. And not only that, but there's a cycle, right, that you go through. So it's important to know your body, because then you'll know the times when you're ovulating. Then you'll know the times when there's a window that you can potentially get pregnant, right? So it's important to keep up with those cycles, right? You don't even need to take external things in order to prevent birth. You just have to know yourself and know your body. And we're in a time in our lives right now where people do not know themselves and people do not know their bodies. And people are just afraid of themselves, really. They're afraid of failure. They're afraid of success. They're afraid of who they really are at the core of themselves. And so it is important that we start to take our power back and we begin to learn exactly who we are and how our body works and functions. Because a lot of people are saying, I know myself, but why don't you know the times where it's easy for you to get pregnant? Why aren't you listening to your intuition, which is another thing that can cause reproductive orders to manifest into the physical? Not listening to your intuition, not being guided by your spirit, but being guided by things that's influencing you, influencing the physical self. So we spoke about your mind. We spoke about the spiritual things, the metaphysical ways in order for reproductive disorders to manifest into the physical. We spoke about nutrition. Another thing that I want to speak about is the products that you are putting on your skin. Every day there is a new product coming out, and every day people are using multiple products, stacking products on top of products and putting it into your skin. It literally takes less than 30 seconds for these products to enter into your bloodstream. And most of the times you don't even know what's inside of the product, because you can't even read, can't even pronounce most of the words that, right? And if you can't pronounce it, I'm sure that you can't comprehend it, right? So we're putting all these products on our skin. It's going into our bloodstream, and it's wreaking havoc into our bodies, right? A lot of products that women have, that women use every day, that contribute to reproductive disorders is hair products. These hair products have so many different toxins in them, and now we're just now finding out that certain perms are causing reproductive disorders. And that's why they say that women who are in the hair industry and working with these hair products every day and things like that, they suffer the most from endometriosis, because they're just around these toxins all day, every day, right? Some of the things that women are suffering from when it comes to using products is perfume. And then you're spraying it on your lymph nodes, you know what I mean? But perfume is one of the main reasons on why women can't have children, or why that the womb is imbalanced, right? Because you're using these different perfumes every single day, and you're spraying them on your body, not knowing that they have all these toxins. And they don't just have one toxin in them, they have like 60 plus, right? This information is on the internet, so it's important that we start to do our research. But a lot of times we didn't know these things. Yeah, you want to smell good, but you're suffering on the inside. Same for like different, because I don't want to like put no names out there, but like different lotions, right? Those stores that we go to smell good, and they have the smell good lotion, and they have the body wash to match it, and they have the body sprays to match it. And so imagine using those things every single day, right? And that's just one part of it. Imagine using those things every single day. Then the soaps that we're using every day. Then we're doing our hair every single day. You know what I mean? Because now women are starting to get their hair done more and more and more, using the products that in order to keep the hairstyles up, right? So imagine each of those products having 60 plus toxins in them. So we're just putting toxins and toxins and toxins on top of our bodies every single day, just because we want to look good, because we want to smell good. Also with makeup is full of toxins as well. So it is so important that you it is so important that you start to do the research in order to see what you are actually using and putting on your body, because those things can be contributing to you not being able to conceive, why your reproductive disorders keep coming back over and over again, or why you can't even get rid of them no matter the things that you are doing. So some of the solutions to this is living a healthier lifestyle. And how do we do that? By knowing our worth, by knowing our value, by loving ourselves more, by eating healthier, right? Making sure our nutrition is up to par, by drinking our herbal teas. You can go on our website and check out the teas that we have in order to help bring the balance back in harmony, right? Some of the other things that we can do is staying out of toxic relationships, and that's just not romantic, but also platonic as well. This includes family as well, the type of relationships we have with our family, the type of relationships that we have with ourselves, right? Not working jobs that doesn't make us feel fulfilled, right? And working jobs that keep us in depression. Listening to your inner guidance, listening to your intuition, doing the things that fills you up, being around people that fulfills you, having a relationship with your womb, because your womb is a part of the meridian pathway, aka your chakra, right? It sends an electrical currency in there. So your womb isn't just for birthing babies, but it's also for manifesting your life, birthing ideas, birthing new projects, right? Your womb does so much more than just have babies. So I really hope that you enjoyed episode 2. I know that it was so much to unpack, but it is very essential that we start to take our power back into our own hands instead of relying on these institutions. See, a lot of these medical doctors, they are not being trained in nutrition, and nutrition is one of the things that will definitely help to reverse every dis-ease or disharmony in the body. Literally, it also says it in the Bible, right? Herbs are for the healing of the nations. And so why people will recite Bible verses all day, but they will fail to speak about the most important things that the Bible talks about when it comes to healing the body, right? On the physical level. And so a lot of these institutions, they just keep us sick, right? Like they heal these symptoms, but they're not healing the root causes. And then when these symptoms get out of control, then the first thing they want to do is cut you, take some stuff out, give you a hysterectomy, take your womb out. And it's like, I feel that whatever you are born with, you were born with it for a reason. We don't have a zipper, right, on our bodies, right? So there are ways to keep our health up without always having to rely on doctors and hospitals. And remind you, they're still a business, right? At the end of the day, they still have to make money, and they are trained, right? So who is training them, right? Because if they're in the business of healing you, I feel like they think like, how are we going to continue to make our money? There is an agenda. This agenda was out before you were even born. And what about before there were medical institutions and things like that back in the day? How was people healing themselves? Through the things that God provided for us. So like I said, I hope that you enjoyed this episode, and please like, share, and subscribe if you made it this far. And I hope to see you on episode 3. All right, talk to y'all soon.